Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Chat with Nat, episode 10. How much of your time do you spend asking, am I good enough? Is this enough? Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Chat with Nat. We are up to episode 10, which I'm super excited about. Now, I wanted to come in today and have a chat with you all about how much time do you spend thinking about, am I good enough and is this enough? It's a topic I wanted to talk about because I know that for a lot of us, we live with this feeling of like we're not enough. We're not enough for everybody else. We're not enough for society. We're not doing enough. We're not good enough. What we do isn't making impact at all. And if we feel like we're not making an impact, how are we really fully contributing? So today I wanted to look at this topic because I know for a lot of us, this is a very private, a very underlining thing that is driving a lot of what we are doing in our life. So questions that you could ask yourself is, when you're doing your everyday stuff, why are you doing it? What is driving you to do these things? Are you doing them because they are what you do in your life? Are you doing them because they are supporting your family? Or are they doing something that is adding value for you? Or are you doing them because you're driven by what you think society or others or your husband or your children or your parents, are you doing them because you feel that that is something that they are expecting you to do? When you are working hard towards these things, so when you are working hard towards raising your children or doing your job, why are you putting that amount of effort into what you're doing? What is driving you to do that? Are you being the best version of yourself as a mother because that is who you are and that is what you want to do and you are wanting to do the best you can? Or are you doing all the things that you are doing because society has got a picture up in its mind and up in the media of what a good mother should be? How are you doing the things that you are doing and what is driving you to do them? These are really, really good and important questions to ask yourself. I find that we feel that sense of loss and we feel that sense of overwhelm and those feelings of not being good enough because of the way we are viewing the things that we are doing in our everyday life. Why are we doing them? This is a big, big question. Are we doing them because we feel that by being this way, we will be viewed better within society, or we'll be viewed as important or more important if we do things a certain way? Are we doing the job that we are doing not because we love it and not because it brings us joy, or we are doing something and we are giving something to the world that is within ourselves? Are we doing it because of the status of the role that we are doing and what that status brings us? Are we basing our identity on how we think the world expects us to be? This is such an important question to ask ourselves whenever we are doing things, so living our life. What is the reason we are doing them? And what is it we're expecting to get out of what we are doing? Are we wanting to, we are all wanting to do the best we can in the world. We are all wanting to do the best we can in our work. But what is driving you to do the best you can? That is the main question. That is the important question to ask yourself when you find yourself feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, and feeling overwhelmed is, what is driving you? Are you being driven by the fact that you love the work you do, that you love being able to contribute in this way? Or are you pushing and driving yourself because of the status or what you feel the world is expecting from you in that role? Is that role defining who you are? Is your role as a parent defining who you are? Have you wrapped your entire identity around that and you are being driven by what is projected in the media or what you feel others expect you to do? Are you able to parent or work or do your hobbies in your way? Are you able to put your own identity within that role? Or are you losing your identity within those roles because you are trying to pigeonhole yourself into what you believe the world or society or your parents, what you believe they expect for you to do? So when we're in this situation where we're not too sure what is driving us and why, where, what is driving us to do what we are doing and to why we're doing it in the way that we're doing, if we are not sure where that is coming from, take some time to just really look at where you are coming from. What is it what is popping into your mind whenever you bake those homemade cookies? Are you baking them because you love to bake those cookies and you enjoy providing those for your family? Or are you baking those homemade cookies because society expects mums to bake homemade cookies? Are you going to work every day in your role because you love the work you do, because you enjoy what you're doing, and every day after work, regardless of what type of day you had, you are satisfied and you are happy and you feel fulfilled? Even if it wasn't the best day at work, it is still, you do still feel fulfilled with what you're doing. Or are you going to work? Are you putting in that effort because in some level you think that that is what it's expected from you, and you feel that you are not good enough unless you do it this way? Some really important questions when we're sitting back and having a look at what is driving us in our everyday life. Why? What is underneath that need? Why are we packing each day with millions and millions of things to do, yet we still feel unsatisfied? So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Please pop them into the comments section. If you have anything to add, I'd love to read the comments that you have. But spend some time. My tips for you today is to spend some time really looking at the why. What is driving you to do things the way that you are doing them? And what is the underlying feeling for you? Are you feeling like you are still not good enough, regardless of how much time and effort and passion you're giving to what it is you are doing? Or are you feeling fulfilled? regardless of the type of day you had, you still know that this is some part of who you are, some core part of you. Another thing to look at is how much of your identity is wrapped up in what you are doing. The roles that we are playing in our life are just purely sections of our life. They don't define the entire part of us. So how much do you place of yourself on those roles? Do you find that when you're not fulfilling those roles, for instance, as a mother or a worker, you feel empty? You don't know who you are outside of those roles. With our things that we do in our life, being a mother, being a daughter, being a worker, whatever it is we're doing, these are not the entirety of who we are. These are actually just aspects of who we are. These are just parts of what we do in our everyday life. They are not the core of us. They may use core parts of our beings. They may use core parts of our personality. But at the end of the day, they are just purely vehicles for us to express who we are. So when you are looking at what you're doing and what you are needing, and whether or not you are, what is driving you to do these roles, another thing that we can look at is how much are we wrapping our sense of identity around what it is we're doing. Are we feeling fulfilled and happy and content with ourselves just as who we are? Or do we need to be performing these roles in order to feel like we are worthy? So I'm going to leave that here with you now. As I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I would love to answer them for you. And thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of Let's Chat with Nat. Take care. Thank you. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Let's Chat with Nat. If you enjoyed this video, please share with all your friends and give me a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. See you next week.